What is still happening, it's a genocide, literally a genocide.
זכור את אשר עשה לך עמלק, נצטווינו.
What is a genocide? Since Israel began its military assault on Gaza following Hamas's surprise attack in Israeli settlements on the 7th of October 2023, the term genocide has been used by civil society groups, activists, academics and journalists to describe what Israel is doing to the Palestinians. On the 15th of October, over 800 scholars, including experts in Holocaust and genocide studies, signed an open letter expressing concerns Israel may be committing genocide in the Gaza Strip. Genocide is a legal term defined by the United Nations in 1948 in its Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of Genocide.
The language of the convention intends to destroy a group that is defined in national, ethnic, religious, or racial terms.
And these acts could refer to the killing of members of the group, causing serious bodily or mental harm of members of the group, or deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction.
The term genocide was coined in 1944 by a Polish lawyer named Raphael Lemkin to refer to what the Nazis were doing in occupied Europe. The adoption of the Charter by the UN would help form the Rome Statute in 1998, which gave birth to the International Criminal Court. A key issue in determining whether or not something is genocide is intent, and if this can be shown, charges can be brought. This can often be hard to prove.
Perpetrators of genocide rarely express themselves in direct, clear, and explicit ways about what they're planning to do.
Usually, this is one of the parts that is difficult in proving the crime of genocide, and usually what you need to prove this intent is a clear genocidal statement. In absence of these statements, usually courts tend to look into acts that indicate this. For example, in the ICTR, the International Criminal Court for Rwanda, the court found that the order to systematically kill Tutsi women after raping them was an indicator of the accused genocidal intent.
Between 1956 to 2016, a research group operated by the US government found 43 genocides had been committed. Only a fraction made it to court. Today, many are asking whether Israel is committing genocide against the Palestinians in Gaza amidst a brutal siege and relentless bombing campaigns that have claimed the lives of thousands of civilians, the majority of them women and children.
It's an entire nation out there that is responsible. It's not true. This rhetoric about civilians not aware, not involved, it's absolutely not true.
As several human rights experts have noted, this most difficult part in proving genocide is actually the most evident one.
This leaked document lays out the plans for the relocation of the population of Gaza to Egypt in a final settlement for the Palestinian population. The paper argues the current Israeli war on Gaza provides an opportunity to carry out the transfer. The document was issued by the Misgav Institute for National Security and Zionist Strategy, a think tank with ties to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The level of destruction of Palestinian civilian infrastructure, from people's homes, schools, hospitals, businesses and others, alongside statements made in the Israeli media and by politicians, have convinced some that the war on Gaza is a genocidal one.
The Israeli officials have been making very dangerous and alarming genocidal statements, including demonstrating the possibility of using nuclear power on the Gaza Strip, calling for another Nakba, for turning Gaza into a parking lot, pushing the Palestinians into Sinai. All of these statements, or even calling Palestinians as non-humans, as human animals, and that anything can be employed to destroy them. The IDF spokesperson clearly said that the focus is on damage, not on precision or accuracy. So clearly here there are serious signals of a genocidal intent.
So on 9th of October, Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant proclaimed a total siege, so taking a 16-year-old siege on Gaza, which was already a clear violation of international humanitarian law, and basically intensified it to a total siege, cutting off water, food, medical supplies, fuel, completely. This actually very much falls within one of the acts of genocide in the convention.
The densely populated nature of Gaza is already contributing to the rapid depletion of existing resources, but this has been made more acute by Israeli military actions.
Israel has dropped more than 20 tons of explosives on Gaza. That is 1.5 times the Hiroshima bomb. We know Human Rights Watch has documented and confirmed the use of white phosphorus bombs. We know that the Israeli attack has killed now more than 11,000 Palestinians in Gaza and over 4,000 children and youth. We also have to be clear that more than half of the buildings in Gaza have been destroyed by Israeli bombings. That includes more than 220 schools, that includes dozens of mosques, several churches, about half of the hospitals in Gaza, if not more. So any pretense to targeted killings of Hamas militants or Hamas military installations in this reality, together with the proclamations of intent, cannot really be made, right? Nothing is targeted here. But if you add to this the forced displacement of now more than 1.5 million people out of the 2.2 million people in Gaza, and the Israeli order early on for all of the Palestinians in the northern part of Gaza to evacuate to the southern part of Gaza, is happening in a situation that is also calculated to bring about the destruction of the group.
So far, Egypt has rebuffed Israeli efforts to relocate Gaza's population to Sinai. While Tel Aviv claimed it would be temporary, Cairo does not believe them. Historical memory of the Nakba in 1948, where up to 1 million Palestinians were forcefully displaced from their homes, Israeli official statements and actions mean the Egyptians believe Israel intends to permanently expel the Palestinian residents of Gaza.
So these acts, when you study them, in parallel to the clear genocidal statements or statements inciting for genocide, they indicate that some of these acts are taking place with the clear intent to destroy in whole or in part this group.
So what legal avenues can be explored if a country is suspected of carrying out a genocide? One route is to request that the International Criminal Court opens an investigation into alleged crimes. 123 countries recognise the ICC, including the Palestinian Authority, which ratified the Rome Statute in 2015, much to the anger of Tel Aviv. Israel, alongside the United States, are among those that do not recognise the court. However, the ICC can still investigate and issue warrants even for countries that have not ratified the statute, in this case for violations that take place in the occupied Palestinian territories. Indeed, Reporters Without Borders filed a complaint to the ICC about Israel's killing of journalists in Gaza, and in a separate case, a number of human rights organisations, including Palestinian rights group Al-Haq, sent the ICC a communication about possible Israeli crimes against humanity in Gaza, including the crime of genocide.
The International Criminal Court was never intended as a mechanism to prosecute everyone responsible on these. The ICC mandate is clear, is for those most responsible for the most heinous crimes. So it will be targeting people responsible at the highest level. That's why in our communication to the court, we focus on Israeli officials and Israeli leaders.
While governments should be responsible for making sure officials are prosecuted if they have evidence of genocide, civil society groups and activists also play a crucial role. The ICC only deals with top-tier officials and leaders deemed responsible for war crimes. However, those of the lower ranks can still be pursued.
When these crimes are being committed or contributed to, every state have the possibility to activate its domestic jurisdiction, including through universal jurisdiction.
Universal jurisdiction allows countries outside where the alleged crimes were committed to prosecute cases against any individual suspected of being involved. For example, in 2021, a German court convicted a former member of the Syrian intelligence for their role in crimes against humanity committed while they were still in Syria. Similar cases have appeared in Sweden and France too. Many countries also have domestic laws to prosecute their own nationals who are suspected of being involved in war crimes overseas too.
If there is will to do so, this could take place in all Western governments who proved in the past years that they have functioning legal systems that have prosecuted, for example, Syrians, nationals affiliated with the Assad regime. If these states want to be taken seriously, that they care about international justice and international law, they should do everything in their power. First, to support the International Criminal Court's investigation and call for accountability, and to activate their domestic jurisdictions to hold those responsible to account.
Getting governments and courts to take up cases for violations of domestic laws, as well as universal jurisdiction, can come about from domestic pressure, as well as evidence collected by civil society groups and activists. On top of that, pressure can be applied on businesses not to trade with parties in violation of human rights. For example, concerning goods produced in illegal Israeli settlements, consumers can demand these not be sold.
It's important to mention the Palestinian civil society have been trying to use domestic jurisdictions in other countries. We had cases against, for example, Stevie Livni in the UK and other Israeli officials. And before disembarking the plane, the UK authorities told them not to do so. And then the law was changed. In Spain, the same thing, even though there was a court ruling. In Belgium, the same thing for a universal jurisdiction case, the law was changed. So the Palestinians have tried every, let's say, every path for justice, and it was shut down for the Palestinians.
Despite issues in the past with domestic court systems, they do still remain a possible route for investigating and prosecuting crimes. Ultimately, the ICC will be the main avenue for Palestinians to pursue justice against the Israeli leadership, but getting there will be an uphill struggle.